Hello and welcome to today's video about how you can lose weight whilst you're on a budget. So if you don't have much money to spend, but you also want to lose weight at the same time, then keep watching because I am about to share 7 tips with you. It's coming from almost 10 years of experience of training both myself and others because I am an online coach. I used to do one-to-one in person, but now I exclusively work online. So I do have a very good understanding of how this process works, and I have also lost weight myself whilst being on a budget. Although before I get started, I do want to say if you're not subscribed to the channel already, then please do subscribe. It helps immensely. Otherwise, let's get stuck in. So first and foremost, it is important to mention that weight loss is almost entirely going to come down to your nutrition because you cannot out-exercise what you eat and drink. Although saying that, I do think I might as well start with the only point that does consist of physical activity, which brings me on to point number 1, which is walking is free. And I know that sounds very simplistic, but you will find a lot of these tips are going to be quite simplistic. So if you don't know where to start, you want to lose weight, and you don't have much money to spend, then start with the most straightforward option, which is walking. Now, the health benefits of walking does go way beyond weight loss. Of course, you don't need to want to lose weight, you have to go on walks. But again, if you're struggling right now, then you would do very well to start with walks. And they don't have to be very long either. Doing 15 minutes a day, every single day, if you're doing nothing right now, is a great place to start. Remember, the gym is amazing for many things, but you don't have to go to the gym to lose weight. Now, the rest of the points that I'm going to mention is going to be surrounding your nutrition because ultimately you do have to average out a calorie deficit over the long term if you want to lose weight. Anyway, on to point number 2, which is buy frozen. And that's just because frozen foods tend to be cheaper than its fresher counterparts. So some brilliant examples of this could be protein sources, fruits, and vegetables. If I was to give you my own personal example, I like to buy frozen berry mixes sometimes just because they are cheaper than fresher berries. And I like to add frozen berries to either my smoothies or my oats. So it's something I am doing quite often. And I know for a fact, if I buy them frozen instead of fresh, then I am going to save a lot more money over the long term and they taste as good. Now, on to the third point, which is do not buy organic. And I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, what is Leo speaking about? Isn't organic healthier? Surely if I want to lose weight, then I need to eat healthy. Now, first of all, like I said, weight loss is ultimately going to come down to you being in a calorie deficit, not whether or not you eat organic. Whether or not organic is healthier is a different question in itself. Nowadays, I do just see it as almost a buzzword where companies are just adding the word organic to their products to get you to buy the same thing for like 5 times the price when it's not even worth it. So I would say just be very wary of buying foods labeled as organic, and ultimately organic foods can still be high in calories. And on that point, I do want to mention that I actually have a free nutrition for fat loss guide in the caption of this video as well. So if you want to download a free nutrition for weight loss guide, which I've made myself, it's on my website, you can grab it again for free, then click the link that I'm going to put in the caption of this video and it's yours. And now there's 4 more points left. And point number 4 is prioritize your fiber intake, because fiber intake helps you manage your hunger better because it keeps you more satisfied. So if you're more satisfied, then you're going to spend less time thinking about food. And if you spend less time thinking about food, it also means you're going to want to spend less money on food as well, because you're going to be fuller. So you're not going to want to keep eating as much. And now if I was to give you another personal example of a fiber bomb that I like to have in my breakfast is I like to have a big bowl of oats, chia seeds, I'll chuck some protein powder in there, not because of the fiber, but because of the additional protein. And then I'll have mixed berries as well. And again, high in fiber, and it's very delicious. And then you would add the milk, and then maybe some honey and dark chocolate as well, depending on how many calories you have space for. And now onto point number 5, which is make your own coffee. And this only applies to you if you are consistently buying coffee. And I put coffee in air quotes because I have seen coffee going for upwards of 600 calories, which in my opinion is no longer coffee. Like, that is a dessert. But again, it only applies to you if you are consistently buying coffee from popular coffee chains. So you're better off just brewing your own coffee and not buying dessert that is basically a cheesecake at that point. So if you want to lose weight whilst you're on a budget, then save yourself both the calories and the money by brewing your own coffee at home. And that will add up a ton. And then on to point number 6 is buy in bulk if possible. So rather than always going back and forth between your house and the supermarket, if you're getting an item that you know you're going to buy quite frequently, then you might as well buy it in bulk, because if you buy it in bulk, it might be more expensive in that moment, but over the long term, you are going to save a lot more money from doing that. And then the final point, which is point number 7, is check out the sales section in your supermarket. And you might be surprised at some of the deals you find there, because sometimes they have some amazing deals. And I know some of those foods might be close to its expiry date, but that's okay, because you could either just have it that night, maybe the very next day, or you could even freeze it if necessary. And if my experience is anything to go by when looking at these sales sections within the supermarket, you could very well end up seeing food there that looks quite nice, it's going for a good price, you end up trying it, and then you end up really liking it, and it becomes a staple in regards to what you eat day to day. So definitely consider that. Otherwise, that is about it for the 7 tips I have for you for making the weight loss process that bit easier while saving money at the same time. And it is important to mention as well that this isn't a be all and end all list. Like, maybe you have other potential tips in mind, and if you'd like to share them, then leave them in the comments below, because then like that you could be helping other people as well. Again, if you want that free nutrition for fat loss guide, click the link that's going to be in the caption of this video. Check out my podcast over on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And again, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and even potentially share this video with your group chat. Otherwise, take care, and I'll see you around.